Hey y'all, I'm Jessi Harry and welcome back to my channel. On this week's What's for Dinner, we've got 3 meals for under $10 for a family of 4. Below I've got the recipe links and the price breakdown, so let's get started. Alright, so the first recipe we have is salmon pasta with lemon garlic butter sauce. So we're using the bagged salmon from Aldi as opposed to a big piece of salmon because it is more cost efficient. Some butter, I use the olive oil and sea salt butter. 2 lemons, a thing of parsley. You can get the parsley from the store and chop it up. I was lazy. Salt, pepper, olive oil, minced garlic, garlic powder, and angel hair pasta. So for this meal, it was actually $8.59 for what you see here, and for the side, it was $9.58 for the whole meal. So first things first is we're going to get the oven preheated to 350. The recipe calls for 400. I'm using small pieces of salmon. I did 350. We're also going to get the pot of water boiling. I always turn on the front one accidentally. So we're going to get that going. All right, so next thing is I've defrosted the salmon and put it on a baking sheet. And I'm going to dab the salmon, kind of get that excess moisture off of them. And we're going to get the seasoning on them. So the seasoning is salt, pepper, garlic, parsley, and lemon. I was distracted and put the salt, pepper, and garlic on the fish, and then the lemon and parsley. It probably doesn't make a difference what order you put it in, but I prefer to do wet seasoning first and then dry seasoning. Because when you squeeze the lemon on, I feel like it kind of makes the seasoning slide off. This was still fabulous, so if you do that, don't worry about it. But recommendation is lemon first, and then everything else, just FYI. But it really didn't matter because, like I said, it still turned out great, and you're eventually going to cut up the salmon anyways. And it all just fuses together, but just my opinion. All right, now that we've got all the seasonings on and the oven's preheated, we're gonna slide it in that oven. And try not to touch the oven because I do it all the time. And set the timer for like 10 minutes because those are very small pieces of salmon. If you use a thick piece of salmon, adjust your times and heat accordingly. All right, so now that the water's boiling, I'm gonna pop in that angel hair pasta. Splattering water on myself and burning myself because we have to burn myself at least once. And then we're going to give it a good stir because I'm really terrible about stirring it, and then it has this like globs of pasta that I hate and my son oddly really likes. So we're going to turn that down so it doesn't boil over, and I'm going to get this sauce started. So we're putting in a little bit of olive oil and butter. I used extra butter. No judgment. If you want to use extra butter, use extra butter too. I like butter. You're going to get all that in there and let the butter and olive oil heat up and, let the butter melt. The noodles are almost done, so you're going to pull out some of that pasta water, about 3/4 of a cup to a cup, whatever you prefer. Set that to the side, and now that the butter is melted and everything's kind of heating up, we're going to throw in some garlic so the garlic can get a little cooked and softened. And the timer's gone off. So the salmon is done. We're pulling that out. And we're gonna take it. Please ignore my cluttered table behind that you can see. We're gonna take all that off of the baking sheet and pop it over into a bowl. And you're just gonna take a fork and break it all up so it'll mix into that pasta well, which is another reason why using the small pieces of salmon was no big deal, because we're gonna throw it into the pasta instead of eating it on the side. We tossed some parsley into the pan with the sauce, and the noodles are cooked, so I strained them out. And we're popping that pasta in there as well. And then you're gonna throw in that reserved water, pasta water from where you pulled it out a minute ago, and start mixing stuff up. You wanna get these noodles good and coated with the butter and the olive oil and the seasonings, all the infused things. And then we're gonna squeeze in some lemon, the rest of the lemon that you have. I think it's like 1.5 pieces. but you can always add more lemon if you like it really lemony. Tossed in the salmon. Now, recommendation is right after you mix in the salmon, I would say that you probably want to taste it. I think I ended up adding a little bit more salt to it. A couple other things. I might have added more butter, who knows, but definitely taste test it and see if it's to your liking. Add more of whatever you think you would like, just my opinion. So here's what it looks like all done. And we're gonna plate it up, a little bit of pasta. We serve this with broccoli with some lemon pepper on it. We actually had a little bit more pasta than for 4 servings. I wanna say this kind of made more like 6. So a very cost-effective meal. Top this with a little bit of red pepper flakes and Parmesan. This was really delicious. Very easy to make, quick to get on the table. I wanna say less than 30 minutes I had this done. So if your family likes salmon, try this. Next thing we're gonna do is an Asian chicken wrap. I've got a recipe linked below, but I kind of did my own thing, which you should not be surprised about. We've got about 2 pounds of chicken breasts cut in chunks. I'm using an Asian chopped salad kit from Aldi as opposed to the mixture that they have in the recipe, which is what I wanted to do. Garlic seasoning or garlic powder, salt, pepper, burrito flour tortillas, some cilantro, some green onion, and store-bought peanut sauce. The recipe has where you can make your own. I wanted to do this quickly. I just used the store-bought kind because we always have that in the house. This recipe was $9.33 for 4 people, and with the side, $9.63. So first things first is we seasoned the chicken with salt, pepper, and garlic seasoning. I just basically added it, stirred, kept adding until I felt like the chicken was well seasoned because I think it's important for the chicken to be well seasoned. We're gonna get the pan warmed up, a little bit of cooking spray, and get that chicken cooked. I actually was gonna marinate the chicken in some Asian dressing, but I forgot that morning, so you can marinate it or do what I did, where I just seasoned it and cooked it up in this pan. It's your preference. It was really good this way if you don't have the time to marinate it. So we're gonna get that cooking over to the side, and we're gonna prep our salad. So I dumped the salad mixture into the bowl, and I'm going to add peanut sauce and a little bit of water to thin it out. Those directions are in the recipe. I then put it, after I stirred it up, I put it in the refrigerator to chill until the chicken was done. The bag came with a little thing of wontons and almond slivers. I did not put that in before I chilled it. I actually, when the chicken was about done, which is now, I pulled that out and added in the strips and the slivered almonds. It also came with dressing. I set that to the side. That's what I was actually going to use to marinate the chicken before I forgot. But yeah, I stirred that in when it was time to serve. So now we're going to make our burrito. Sorry, I did not show you the chicken being all the way done. Step I forgot, but we took that chicken, put it onto the tortilla. We're gonna top it with the salad mixture that now has the wontons and slivered almonds in it. And we're going to top that with some cilantro, green onion, and then I did some red pepper flakes. You can add in more peanut sauce, or you can add in some sriracha if you'd like. It's your personal preference. Like I said, the recipe that is linked actually has a recipe for the peanut sauce and for the salad mixture if you can't buy the Asian salad kit, or if you just don't have access to that. Maybe you don't have an Aldi near you, and maybe the store that you have doesn't have it, or maybe you just like to do it the way that the recipe says. But you can look that up in the recipe link below. I rolled that up and we served that with just some sliced up cucumbers. You can add dressing or seasoning to that. I think that we added a little bit of tangine seasoning to that, kind of spicy. But this was really good on the table, so quick. This was also another meal that was under 30 minutes and everyone enjoyed it. Served with a little peanut sauce on the side, dippy dippy. All right, so the next recipe and our last one is going to be porcupines in a skillet with rice. So we've got some ground beef, about a pound. Oh, my terrible nails, apologies. They had already chipped by this time this week. That's just how it is. So we have some ground beef. We have some shredded cheese, whichever kind you like. Some onion soup mix, some canned mushrooms, which are optional, not in our house. Some diced tomatoes, some Italian seasoning, some rice, and some pepper. This recipe for everything you see was $8.49 for a family of 4, and with the side was $9.49. So first things first is we're going to get the skillet heated up. And toss this ground beef in. I didn't have to spray it because I have a little bit of fatty ground beef, and you don't need any spray with that. So once it's all cooked up, you're going to put in the onion soup mix, the diced tomatoes. I use flavored diced tomatoes. You can use plain. I recommend the flavored. I did like the basil, oregano, garlic. The mushrooms, which you can leave out. Not in my family. I love mushrooms. Water and rice. And then lastly, I put in pepper and Italian seasoning. The recipe does not call for these extra seasonings. I recommend that you add extra seasoning to this. Whatever you like, add it. I even think a little bit of Cajun seasoning would have been good with this, but that's just me. I kind of feel like the recipe as is a little bland. So you add what you like. I like seasoning in my house. I think it makes just recipes better. Anyway, so we're gonna get that all stirred up. Get that rice all in there. Yep, lots of stirring. And we're going to set it to high. This is different than what the recipe says. I set it to high, let it come to a low boil, stirred it again, and then I'm going to set it to low and put the lid on. I recommend this because even with this, the rice did not cook in the time that the recipe says. I actually had to add more water. I want to say 1.5 cups to this and add more time to it. I would keep an eye on this. I just kind of let it cook and then came back and I was like, oh, the rice is not all the way cooked. So keep an eye on it, add water if needed, stir if needed. So now that it's finally done and the rice is tender, I turned the eye off and I just added the shredded cheese. As you can see, this is a mixture of 2. I was at the end of one bag, opened another one. We're not picky here with our cheese. Topped it, put the lid back on so the cheese could melt. And now that it's all melted, here is what it looks like. Comfort food at its finest. That's what this meal is, comfort. So we're gonna plate it up. So we serve this with a little side salad with croutons and some dressing. Very yummy. Like I said, this was comforting. This actually probably made 8 servings. So we're looking at 8 servings for $8.49, like if we're not including the little side salad that I served. So it was not under 30 minutes. Like I said, I had to add more time to it. So just keep that in mind. It does take a little bit longer, but you kind of just set it and don't really mess with it once you have all the things to it. So it was really good. It's great for fall, and we've got fall coming up. So excited about that. All right, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you like the price breakdown, please make sure to comment below and tell me that you like it so I can keep making videos like that. And anyways, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.